Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is a paid request for CrypticChance. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. CashApp is also an option, because people have asked about that. The links are in the info box. If you wish to, I'll get to it as soon as I can. Thank you so much. There'll be any topic, reaction, tier list, review, movie review, commentary, video game playthrough, what have you. And the review for today is Babes in Toyland from 1997. Which I remember I looked at the cover, at least one of the covers, and went, oh, I don't know about this. It's going to be like some really cheap looking direct-to-video film. Which, I mean, they go direct-to-video, for what I understand. But it didn't look that cheap. It looked pretty decent. And maybe that's because it's directed by Toby Bluth, who's the brother of Don Bluth. Of course, Don Bluth did The Land Before Time, An American Tail, Titan AE. And while Toby wasn't as prominent as his brother, he still seemed like he had some talent. For a kid's direct-to-video film, this was at least a competent movie. This wasn't too bad. Maybe not if I'm going to rewatch again and stuff, but you know what, for one-time watch, I'm like, okay, this actually isn't too shabby. It's short enough, it's like an hour and 12 minutes or so it's not a long movie. The voice acting isn't too bad. The bad guy is Christopher Plummer, may he rest in peace, who's a good actor. He plays the evil Uncle Barnaby. The animation of the film, I thought, worked fine for, again, a direct-to-video film. It wasn't like Food Fight or some of these other movies. Other voice actors, the ones who played Jack and Jill, they did fine. They were not bad at all. Charles Nelson Reilly, who I remember from the X-Files episode Jose Chun's from Outer Space, he voices Humpty Dumpty with his very creepy looking, like, DSL huge lips. The story of the film is Jack and Jill. They are on a train. They're orphans. They're going to Toyland to live with their uncle. Along the way, they meet a guy named Tom Piper, who, with a flick of his wrist, could take a bunch of stuff and do this and then create a toy chopper. Which, hell, that takes talent, especially with one hand. Tom Piper and this other girl, they run this toy factory. It's days before Christmas. They're trying to get stuff for Santa. The evil Uncle Barnaby is tired of this crap and wants the toy factory shut down. Just because he's evil. And it goes on from there. I thought it was kind of interesting that, you know, Little Bo Peep has her sheep on the damn train tracks, you dummy. Don't you look both ways? Don't have your sheep on the train tracks or wait for the train to pass by, you idiot. Thankfully, the train was alive and was able to slow down a bit. Otherwise, we'd be having some sheep frappe. Little Bo Peep. You fucking moron. You little bitch. Don't give me Andrew. I'll sit Andrew Dice Clay on you and get some more dirty nursery rhymes to make your head explode. Also interesting that what was the fairy, not the nursery rhyme about was the spoon and the plate get married? It was something like that. You do see a bit of the spoon and a plate having gotten married. I don't want to know what the honeymoon would be like. You know, how does a spoon and a plate, is it like, do you just like, I mean, I guess that'd be tapping that ass, literally. Would this be the ass of a plate? I guess it's tap that ass. I guess maybe that's literally tap that ass, I guess. What else it gonna do? And, you know, Toyland, I mean, it has various designs, and the songs are fine for a direct-to-video film. They're catchy enough to get a little to his attention. They're not cringe-inducing enough to make me want to drink cyanide or anything. The songs are fine. You know, they're on balloons. They're floating on balloons. They ride this big goose around the whole Toyland. The songs are like, I have a dream inside of me. A dream is simply a wish made from your heart. You know, that kind of, they seem like wishy-washy songs, but, it's meant for little kids. And the animation is fine and competent. Christopher Plummer is definitely playing evil fairly well, where he's like, I think he says the line, I have a much better idea. I have a much better idea. Why don't you just toss those kids in the river? And one other bit later on that I thought was a bit like, ooh, dealing with Humpty Dumpty. I'll get to that in a minute. So then Barnaby, like, the kids tell him who their uncle is. Humpty Dumpty's like, I don't know about that, but that's where they're supposed to go. And the uncle wants nothing to do with them until apparently the kids have money. So invite them in. And he wants to buy and destroy the toy factory. And, I mean, they definitely showcase how evil he is. He steals a baby bottle. And once, like I said, as the movie was going on, I'm like, okay, this is going at a good enough pace. It doesn't lollygag around too much. Like I said, the animation, the voice acting are pretty competent for a direct-to-video film. There's nothing I thought was egregious or anything. I did like the bit where the bad guy's like, oh, that Tom Piper? I had the goblins eat him. And right behind him he's like, oh yeah? How'd I taste? Like, just something about the way he said that. I'm like, just very, simple but smart ass. Oh, they did, huh? How'd I taste? Just something about that, made me smart, maybe chuckle a bit. I didn't realize that the guy who voices Tom Piper is Raphael Sbarge. For those who don't know, that's the guy who stars in the first Carnosaur movie and The Hidden 2. And especially The Hidden 2, I'm like, this guy sucks. But he's actually good in this, and I could not, if I didn't read that up, I would never have made the connection. Just, I'm hearing the voice, I'm like, that's the guy from The Hidden 2 and Carnosaur? I never would have known. And, okay, he's probably not as bad in Carnosaur, just that film sucks. I prefer Carnosaur 2 and 3 a lot more than the first one. Let's get those films out on Blu-ray. I'll throw the first one away, but I'll Carnosaur 2 and 3 I would like on Blu-ray. Come on now. There's a lot of worse movies out there on Blu-ray. But yeah, I would have never noticed. I said the songs would be catchy, like The Bad Guy. Ooh, what a crooked man is Barnaby. It has a nice, tone to it, inflection to it. He hires some people to screw over the factory, but Jack's able to save it by getting something out of the gears. The bad guy makes a deal with the goblins, and they're going to attack the town. The head goblin has this scream that he does, that kind of a creepy, like, blood-curdling scream that I can imagine maybe a kid, if they're 5, 6 years old, they'd being scared of this guy, and the way he screamed is like... So... Oh, and then spoilers. Spoilers. There's a bit where Humpty Dumpty's trying to warn and stop some stuff, and Barnaby goes up. One thing leads to another, and he pushes a guy, and you just hear this crunch. And Barnaby just laughs. So the idea, because Humpty Dumpty's an egg, that he fell and he went... I'm like, does that mean his brains are on the ground? I mean, that's the image. The fact that we don't see it, and we get the idea of it. Now, of course, it's a kid's film, so he'll be back. But just, well, I mean, there are some kids films that do go that way, to be fair. Lion King, for example. Simba's dad, among others. I'm like, is he dead? Is he dead for real? Like, for the rest of the movie? He's not. He's at the end, he's back, but at the end, it's like, ooh, like, that really does sell you the evil of this guy. I didn't expect that, and that crunch, what, because I just imagine, like, he's a living egg, and just, you know, his brains are just leaking out on the pavement. I'm like, okay, that's a bit. I was expecting it, and I give credit to that. Pretty much the bad guys take the kids to the goblins. Tom Piper and the girl, they rescue the goblins. The goblins don't like light. The goblins attack the town. Tom Piper and the girl have these March of the Wooden Soldiers. They unleash the toy soldiers. They either punch the goblins or they put out the fires. And again, it's not as emotional as Land Before Time. Is that as fluid with this animation and, you know, really settling on a time period like an American Tale. So maybe Toby Bluth, he probably lived in the shadow of his brother a lot. But I think, again, for what little you had for a direct-to-video film, he probably did what he could with whatever budget he had. Because, again, the animation I thought was competent enough. The voice acting was, again, competent enough. And there's, like, nice little moments. Like I said, with the Humpty Dumpty bit. Also the bit where the kids really kill the head goblin, where they have this light onto him. And the goblin's, like, shaking. And he explodes in light. And the way that was shot, I thought was... The way that looked, I thought was pretty neat. I don't know how to describe it, just with this hellacious roar. Ah! I'm like, okay. Give a bit more impact to the death. Because he explodes in just a pile of goo, so... I like that they didn't undercut that. Like, no, this he's dead. He wasn't just arrested or, you know, slap on the wrist. He's dead. And then Barnaby's ran out of town because the other goblins are pissed at him and he runs away. I'm surprised we didn't see that character die. I'm not saying this movie needs a ton of death, but if anyone needed it, it was him. So maybe that's how they were able to get away with it rating-wise. Like, you can't kill a person, but if it's a creature, then you can. So, I mean, maybe if they... Well, I mean, other than Disney films and other stuff have done that, so you can do that, but maybe just by choice. Maybe they were hoping for a sequel. Maybe they just... Again, it was just their choice to do that. I don't know. I'm just saying I would have preferred if Barnaby got his just desserts more so. I think that would have been more satisfying, at least to me. And the goblins are the way to do it. Okay, you don't want the heroes to do it because you don't want to make them look like... To me, it'd be justified homicide, but okay, you don't want... For kids, I get it. Well, the goblins could take care of that. At least where if the goblins, like, get on top of them and then they leave and there's nothing left, that alone could create the idea where they tore them apart but you don't see anything. It's just, no, and then they're all on them and then they leave and there's nothing there except maybe his hat or whatever. I would prefer something like that than him just being run out of town by the goblins. That's just me. I do like the idea that they do fix Humpty Dumpty and he's got a metal plate. I know it seems obvious, but not everybody would do that. So I like the idea I just like anything. What happens if you break your head open? You know, they could put a metal plate in it. So I like the idea of Humpty Dumpty get a metal plate in his 8 heads. So just something about that made me smile. Also, I mean, this is a little detail, but like the bad guy has a cat. You're kind of like Jafar has his parrot. A lot of bad guys have their pet with them. But the pet is now with the good guys. Now, I kind of wish there was a bit more of a transition of that, where maybe the cat could do a couple things that made it not as evil as its master. And then the kids appreciate that and then welcome it in. The fact that the cat just all of a sudden is now going to be with the little girl just seemed out of the blue. So I wish they added a few things to make that transition a bit more smoother. But again, these are like little nitpicks here and there. Santa gets his toys, all is well, and the movie's over. So like I said, if you have kids and you want to see something that takes place before Christmas, Christmas is coming up. I don't know if it's on YouTube now. It was when I saw it. But it is on YouTube for free. You can watch it with your kids, and there's nothing that intense that you'd be worried about. There's no crappy messaging. There's no fart jokes or any of those type of juvenile jokes. It's definitely harmless entertainment with some decent songs, decent animation, competent voice acting. And I was curious, there was something about the girl who played Jill that I'm like, really? Let me see real quick. 1997. Bear with me. It gets a 4.8. I don't think it's that bad of a movie. I don't. That's just me, though. I don't think it's that bad. But again, that's just me. That's just me. Of course, I didn't even mention that the two henchmen are played by Jim Belushi from K9 and Red Heat, and the other is Bronson Pinchot from Beverly Hills Cop. So, yeah, I didn't even mention those two. But that was nice to hear those characters in it. Like, those are actors I like. But Lacey Chabert, who's Jill, I'm like, if you remember, she voiced Princess Elise in Sonic the Hedgehog 2006. She was in Mean Girls. She was in Daddy Daycare. She was in the remake of Black Christmas, the 2006 one. And she was in, you remember that Lost in Space movie in the 90s? By Stephen Hopkins? She was in that as Penny. Was that the character name? Yeah, Penny. So not the oldest, not Heather Graham, but the younger daughter, Penny. That's Lacey Chabert. So, because I'm like, I know that name sounds familiar. So, and yeah, then she would later be in Mean Girls and other stuff. So definitely some recognizable people in the cast, at least to me. So that was neat. So overall, I didn't mind it for what it was. It was better than I thought it would be. I mean, listen, I went in with low expectations. Give 4.8. I think that's a bit harsh. It's harmless. It's harmless. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.